Chapter 5 The City of Knowledge. Coimbra University can be traced back to the 13th century, and this city, which was once Portugal's capital, has students wandering around the streets in black gowns. I expect to bump into Harry Potter at any moment. Within Portugal, the collection of people, buildings and roads which were first to influence us is probably best known because of the old university, the hem of whose gown the city has spread out from. Stephen and I liked Coimbra immediately, and during the year, alone and with friends, we explored her. But our first glimpse of its streets, buildings and people had been towards the end of November 2009, on a wet evening following a drive from Porto Airport. We were there to view our new home. In the village a short drive away, and Stephen parked the car alongside the embankment of the River Mondego. The part of the city we had stopped in had crumbling walls, broken pavements and railway lines behind wire fences, seemingly welcoming us with a weary face. Within a few minutes, we left this behind us and walked into an area where reflections from Christmas lights bounced back from the small wet stones that made up the mosaiced pavements. Other contrasts were in the wide, clean shopping areas, with squares bordered by cafes, and the ideas of medieval town planners was evident. But the amalgamation of old and new appeared to work and reminded me of London. Later, when I understood the country's financial crisis and the people better, areas such as the one we had first left our car were interpreted as a show of modesty rather than dilapidation. The city of Coimbra can be found about a third of the way down from Portugal's northern border with Spain, meaning it sits almost equidistant between Porto in the north and Portugal's capital city, Lisbon. Whereas the part of the country that many friends and family assumed we were moving to was the Algarve, with its beaches, villas, swimming pools, and a sunny home away from home feel to it, our first, and as it happened only, approach to the country when looking for a new home was somewhere with a little more tradition. Coimbra University can be traced as far back as the 1200s, which makes it one of the oldest such institutions in the world. The buildings that dominate one aspect of the buildings that dominate one aspect of Coimbra's character require little pointing out, visible as they are upon the hill. But what is not obvious is that when the university was founded, Portugal was a new country within the Iberian Peninsula, and the city was its capital. As we started living in Portugal, we found that the view from the terrace of the university campus assuaged any tiredness of the limbs the climb up to it had cost our limbs, and on many occasions we viewed the city below us from both this hilltop and the veranda of the Glass and Steel Forum shopping centre on the opposite bank of the river. It was in Coimbra that we found a DIY store from which we bought the additional storage for the music room, and instead of taking home a flat pack, the sleek four-drawer chest with a reconstituted wooden heart and a cherry wood veneer was ready to assembled. Yet little by little we began to shop closer to home, and it was a few days after buying Stephen's chest of drawers we were in Miranda de Corval on our regular Wednesday trip to the market and happened to drive past a second-hand shop. The contents of the building spilled onto the pavement and gave us the impression that an old hoarder had decided to open the doors of their house to the public. Intrigued by the assortment of bric-a-brac, we parked the car and went inside. Any hope that the inside was more ordered was quickly vanquished. There were small objects which sat on larger objects, and taller items could be moved to reveal treasures hiding in corners or against walls. There was no artificial light in the place. As we travelled away from the windows and doorway, the source from which outside rapidly became obscured. So much so that we were lent a torch by the owner. About midway between the door and the thicker darkness of the back wall, we found a slender form about a metre high standing beside the piano. 5 drawers opened and closed in a sticky fashion within the chest, and a slender leaf pulled out just below the top, which I presumed was a leaf to write upon, until my father-in-law suggested that it could be used as a surface on which to rest items evicted from the drawers while rummaging through them. Below the dark wooden body, 4 feet, which were the size and shape of Victorian Christmas baubles, raised it off the ground a few centimetres, and on the front drawers and leaf, acorn-sized knobs provided perches to pull them out. For a price that was more or less equal to that paid at the DIY store, a chipped corner and more than a few scratches were included within the chest's price. When we arrived home, at Stephen's suggestion, I applied olive oil to a cloth and rubbed it into the wood of the cabinet. And similar to the way Coimbra's shiny shopping centres contrasted with the dusty, disorganised shop in Miranda de Corvo, my chest contrasted with Stephen's chest of drawers. Away from the city, another discovery for us concerned our DIY projects. One day we were in town and happened upon the builder's yard. Materials such as tiles, galvanised roofing sheets and wire caught our eye, and the amount and types of wire seemed suitable for building a chicken run or erecting a border crossing. Alongside these materials were metres and metres of plastic pipe, enough to take rainwater from our gutters to the Atlantic Ocean 40 kilometres away. Our curiosity led us through a wide doorway, and we passed between rows of shelves barely illuminated, like the characters pushing through the coats hanging up in C.S. Lewis's wardrobe in Narnia. And in our new land, instead of a stone table, we found a stone staircase, which led up to the shop floor. In this area, a wooden counter separated the 3 men who worked there from 2 other customers, and after pulling a ticket from a dispenser by the door, which led in from the street level, the number flashed up, and Stephen and I attempted to purchase what we had gone there for. Asking for things we had never even learnt the names of in our mother tongue, let alone the new one, was often unsuccessfully managed, as our tongues mangled the language that we thought we knew anyway. And something completely different was brought from the counter. Embarrassed by my attempt at the language, I nodded at the shop assistant's questioning look, as if the item being shown to me was indeed the one I had intended to buy, and Stephen played along with the charade until we were outside. Once outside, he could not contain his mischievous smile for long, and he teased me for a few minutes while I assured him that the metal whisk that fitted into a drill and was used to mix cement would indeed be of use one day. I'm happy to say it was.